Hi Gemini, this is Tisch Aitken, and this is your monthly report for the month of November. It's a really busy month because we are in eclipse season. I am filming these videos in the middle end of October, and we always feel eclipse energy a month before it hits, which is right now for me and for you, but you're watching this later. And we generally feel it at least a month after, if not a few months after, depending on whether or not it hits you strongly. If it hits an angle of the chart or a personal planet, you really feel it for a while. So with that said, eclipses bring things to light. They make us see things in a way we never have before. A lot happening in a very short period of time. And in the month of October, 4 planets stationed direct, and that's a big deal because eclipses are kind of like Uranian energy, and this is the new age of Aquarius, and Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius. So there's a lot of on again, off again, unpredictable energy, just like eclipse season. Yet luckily, 4 planets stationed direct in October. Pluto, the planet of regeneration and power. Saturn, the planet of karma and responsibility. Jupiter, the planet of benevolence and higher learning. Mercury, the planet of the mind, communication and transportation, and the ruler of your sign. So with that said, the Sun and Mars are both transiting in the fixed water sign of Scorpio as we begin November, in your house of work and routine. Mars entered Scorpio on October 30th. It will be there until December 13th. Excellent for getting organized, getting work done. If you want to start a health routine or a workout program, excellent for doing so. The Sun will be there until November 21st, bringing light to that area. And Mercury is just about to exit Libra, where it's been since August 30th, in your house of romance, creativity, and love affairs. Mercury retrograded on September 27th. At that point, all of the planets are retrograde. And again, Mercury rules your sign. You are a very social sign. I imagine many people from many different avenues of life resurfaced. And we are putting to bed that Mercury and Libra story, but later this year, Venus is going to retrograde. And it's going to retrograde on December 19th. At 26 degrees and 19 minutes of Capricorn, which sets off where Pluto was in April of this year. It also sets off where Saturn was from March 4th until November 4th of last year, when it reached 26 degrees of Capricorn. And Venus will station direct on January 29th at 11 degrees and 4 minutes of Capricorn. And that triggers where Saturn was at the end of December of 2018 and early January of 2019. So really getting clear on the Saturn and Capricorn story. It's almost the entire transit. Saturn entered on December 20th of 2017 and exited on December 17th of 2020. And for you, it was transiting in your house of loss and rebirth, joint resources, wounds and healing and empowerment, and really facing how you can be creative and productive in fixing your financial affairs, in dealing with painful issues, which I think is a universal experience right now in one way or another, unless somebody is really devoid of emotion. And so I think that really figuring out how you can bring love to your healing and find hope in a difficult time. So as we begin on November 2nd, Mercury squares Pluto at 5:39 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That may not be the day you find the love, but that could be combative energy, but it's good for getting to the bottom of things. On November 4th, there is a new moon that takes place at 5:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 12 degrees and 40 minutes of the fixed water sign of Scorpio, in your house of work and routine. Set intentions of what you want to accomplish and how you want to get organized. A new moon is always a new beginning and a time to set intentions. That new moon is going to be intense because later that day, the sun opposes Uranus at 7:58 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that can bring some twists and turns, and maybe there are issues at work, maybe there's some big surprises. It can be innovative, but thinking on your feet. On the 5th of November, Venus changes signs and enters Capricorn at 6:44 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time in your house of intimacy, joint resources, and healing. And again, it will be there until March 6th of 2022, really getting clear on that area of your life. It's not all easy, but Venus is a benefic, so that at least is helpful in a cardinal sign, which is action-oriented. Later that day, Mercury, which rules your sign, enters the fixed water sign of Scorpio at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Now you have 3 planets transiting in your house of work and routine. Really good time to get focused. And again, 4 planets are now direct. The end of the month, we're going to feel the Neptune build up too, because Neptune will station direct in your house of career on December 1st. So on November 6th, Mercury forms a helpful sextile to Pluto at, let's see, at 11:59 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's really helpful for professional matters and good for financial or work issues, good for communication. On November 10th, Venus forms a beautiful sextile to Mars at 7:57 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's creative and romantic. But at 12:04 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Mercury squares Saturn. And that could be difficult. That could bring delays at work, or just feeling there could be disagreements or people not really seeing your point of view. And then later at 6:14 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Mars squares Saturn. And that can feel very frustrating and tough to get things done. For you, focus on projects that require a lot of patience. On November 13th, Mercury opposes at 3:07 a.m. At 10:57 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That can bring a lot of unexpected events. It can be very innovative because Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, but expect for interesting information to be uncovered at that point. And then on November 15th, Venus squares Chiron at the Wounded Healer at 3:07 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That could bring up issues with friends, but it's also good for doing healing work. Later that day, Sun squares Jupiter, and that can be a lot of energy. It can be excessive, but it's also good for, it's still an optimistic energy, and that occurs at 2:58 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. On November 16th, there's very positive energy. The Sun forms a really good aspect to Pluto at 4:01 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Good for getting work done, good for feeling empowered. On November 18th, now we're really feeling the buildup of the lunar eclipse, which is like a full moon on steroids. November 18th, Mercury forms a beautiful trine to Neptune, and that occurs at 10:38 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's good energy for feeling creative and tapping into manifesting and meditating, which I definitely encourage around eclipses, and using your imagination. Neptune rules your house of career, so what you want to accomplish. And then later that day, Venus forms a beautiful trine to Uranus at 10:08 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time and at 1:08 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on November 19th. And that's really beautiful energy, very creative, and good for you for financial opportunity and also tapping into your imagination. Then the partial lunar eclipse occurs on November 19th at 3:57 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 27 degrees and 14 minutes of the fixed Earth sign of Taurus. This occurs in your house of endings. There are some things that you might be completing or letting go of. I have to say that it's a degree off from a fixed star known as Algol, which is not easy fixed star. It's associated with losing your head literally, or it could be figuratively, but just trying to keep a hold of things, because again, it's a full moon on steroids, and it's heavy energy. And on the 20th of November, on the following day, Venus squares Jupiter at 6:43 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Those are the two benefics. It could be an excess of energy. At least those are the two luckiest planets, but obviously a lot of emotions. And for you, the 12th house is a very emotional house. It's the Pisces house in traditional astrology. It's the house of tears and dreams, and it's the house of philanthropy and love, selfless love, but it can be very, very sensitive and emotional. You will be feeling it. Just recognize that. And then on November 21st, let's see here, the sun, the sun enters Scorpio. The sun enters Sagittarius at 9:34 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, where it will be until December 21st. It's transiting in your house of partnerships and relationships. Venus and Pluto are in harmony that day, and they form a sextile, so that's really good for you, for your financial endeavors and work endeavors. And then on November 24th, Mercury enters the sign of Sagittarius in your house of relationships. So now more focus on partnering. If you're single, excellent time for meeting people, and if you're in a relationship, just a lot of partnering in so many capacities. And then on November 25th, which is the day of Thanksgiving in the United States, the moon is in Leo, which is usually a pretty fun placement of the moon, but realistically it forms an opposition to Saturn. It squares Uranus and Taurus, and it squares Mars and Scorpio, so that's kind of heavy. But on the following day, on the 26th, Saturn, which is how we anchor our goals and ourselves, how we stabilize ourselves, Saturn forms a helpful sextile to Chiron, the wounded healer. And Chiron is transiting in your house of friends and groups. And Saturn is transiting in your house of manifesting hope and belief system. So hopefully this is collective healing for all of us at a very needed time. On November 28th, Mercury and the Sun meet up at 11:39 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time in your house of work. You'll probably be very busy. A lot of insight could come. And then on November 29th, Mars forms a beautiful trine to Neptune at 9:10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Now remember, Neptune is going to station retrograde on December 1st in your house of career. It is the ruler of your house of career. It retrogrades at 20 degrees and 24 minutes of the mutable water sign of Pisces. We feel that haze 5 days before and 5 days after, but Neptune is the planet of selfless love and infinite imagination. So really, hopefully tapping into that. And on November 30th, Venus forms a beautiful sextile to Neptune at 3:46 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And this underscores the need for love and compassion in a very difficult time. Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. And on that day, the Sun trines Chiron, the wounded healer, and that's also really helpful energy. And so, we are dealing with a lot. We've got another eclipse around the corner at that time on December 4th, and that eclipse is going to be, that's a new moon eclipse in your house of relationships and partnerships. So for you, it's falling in a very critical house. The four critical houses are the ascendant, which is the first house, house of self and new beginnings. The fourth house, the house of home, family and emotional foundation, the 7th house of partnerships and relationships, and the 10th house of career and life goals. So this new moon eclipse falls in an angular, action-oriented house of partnerships. Whom do you want to partner with? How do you partner with yourself? How do you partner with the world? And how can you contribute in the new age of Aquarius? A lot happening. I wish you a lot of luck. And thank you very much, Gemini. Take care.